can do it better. These are the impact makers we're talking about. And again, those at home who may be wondering who they are, last Friday we held the Impact Makers 2026 Awards at Labadi Beach Hotel where, you know, as I said, these people are heroes. They are not the ones who wear the capes, but they're doing amazing in their communities. And we wanted to make people know that there are people who are doing marvelous works and we would celebrate them. That's why Joy News put that initiative together. If you're home, you want to ask a few questions, how you can also continue to help their initiatives, you can send us a message, 055-157-5757. Again, 055-157-5757. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are we doing?
Yeah.
I think they deserve another round of applause. You're doing amazing. Now let me come to you, Amos. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Everything is okay?
Oh, yes.
After Friday, how are you feeling?
Oh, it was very, very okay for me, and then a dream come true. Because finding yourself in a situation that you want to draw the national attention on, and then it has really come true. It seems like God has answered our prayer. We are the focus on Sickle Cell Foundation, so it's a dream come true. I feel okay.
I'm happy that you feel okay. Well, for those of you who want to know what Amos actually did and what he worked on, the project that he did that got him the recognition that he deserved, please take a look at this video.
My name is Amos Ando, founder and executive director of Focus on Sickle Cell Foundation. I'm a Ghanaian youth leader, health advocate, and practicing journalist dedicated to reducing the burden of sickle cell disease. At Focus on Sickle Cell Foundation, one of our key innovations is the Fossil comic strip education model, which uses storytelling to teach children and young people about sickle cell disease and genotype compatibility. The pilot phase of the comic strips has already been implemented in some basic schools in the Efutu municipality, Winneba, in the central region. Beyond that, we have reached thousands through school outreach programs, community engagement, and national media platforms. We also organize initiatives like the National Sickle Cell Fan Fair, combining entertainment with free genotype screening and education. At the policy level, I champion the inclusion of sickle cell treatments under the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS. We are advocating for integration of sickle cell education in Ghana's JHS and SHS curriculum by embedding it into subjects like science, social studies, guidance and counseling, supported by Fossil's comic strip education model. My motivation is deeply personal. I'm a person living in sickle cell genotype SC. I've lived with pain, stigma, and lack of awareness. I was told I might not live beyond 25 years when I was diagnosed at 6 years with sickle cell disease. I do what I'm doing today because I believe no child should come on this earth to suffer. So far, we have impacted thousands of people across Ghana, and we are working towards to impact in tens of thousands of people, eventually millions across Ghana. The Joy News Impact Makers Awards will amplify our work, and it will help us to gain visibility, credibility, and strengthens our scope to get more sponsorship.
He's preaching about sickle cell, and we'll get to hear more about that. But again, Amos, that was commendable. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
And we're proud of you.
Thank you.
But now let me go to Reverend. Reverend, how are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you for asking.
You're doing amazing in the Volta region.
Thank you.
Talking about mental health and its importance. Well, again, if you want to see, please take a look at this video. Let's get to understand what Reverend is doing in the Volta region.
My name is Reverend Christian Voleto, a physician assistant at Anyani Health Center, a pastor with the Global Evangelical Church, and the CEO of Bubume Mental Health Foundation. I lead a team of nurses, pastors, and some volunteers, and we are offering an integrated community mental health care to these neglected and street-dwelling cases. We first identify them, trace their families for their consent, and then we clean them up. This is followed with consistent follow-ups and reviews. By the grace of God, those that recover, we try hard to get something for them to be doing. So in the last 3 years and 4 months, we have managed 73 cases. 58 of them have recovered, and about 32 are into economic activities. That is to say, they are taking care of themselves. They are either selling, fishing, farming, or they are doing something significant to earn a living. I'm truly honored and humbled to be part of Joy News Impact Makers Award, because Joy News Impact Makers Award is a huge platform, and this recognition is a great motivation for myself and my team. Joy News Impact Makers Award is going to open greater doors for partnerships, for funding, for greater visibility in our communities. We can train a lot more volunteers and build bigger teams that we can reach out to so many cases in other communities in Angola here, South Tongue, Volta, and elsewhere in the country.
Yes, and now we come to the women amongst the men. Now, this woman I'm very happy and honored to be sitting in front of, because we always say that women really are the real heroines, and she is the real heroine. Hi, Valeria.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Doing well.
Okay, let me say congratulations. She emerged the winner, the overall winner. Again, very well deserved. She has been fighting for amputees. You want to see that? Please take a look at this video.
My name is Valeria Ajatia. I'm a disability rights advocate and the founder of Smiles of Hope. After my amputation at 7 years, I was going to school when I got knocked down by a car, and that changed my life drastically. It brought about a lot of changes to me, and growing up, the struggles, the stigma, but through it all, it's also transformed and made me into the woman that I am becoming now, which is why I choose what I do to be an advocate for persons with disabilities, specifically amputees, because I am an amputee myself. Since our inception, we've been able to reach over 2,000 amputees and their caregivers. And these are just not numbers. These are real people that we've been able to touch, transform, help them to rebuild their lives again, build their confidence again, and be able to settle back into society. I think the whole initiative by Joy News is a very great platform. This initiative throws the spotlight on people who their stories are not being heard, and whom we haven't even heard their impact or what they do within their communities. Through this intervention or through this spotlight, it lets people hear about their stories, and it also encourages others to also do more. It will also help us reach more amputees out there, expand what we are able to do. Also, look out for partnerships that we could work with and grow this into a bigger thing to be able to support. As our name says, Smiles of Hope, and then we say where hope is found, We want people to find that hope again, to be able to get back on their feet.
Valeria says, smiles of hope. She says, where hope is found. Please, again, put your hands together for all. And so I'm happy that you're here in person, because on the awards day, we will play these videos you see, but it's better to hear it again, reiterated, for us to get in-depth information on what this really is, because day-to-day lives, people struggle with these things, mental health, people struggle as amputees, the stigma, and even people living with sickle cell. Not a lot of people understand what goes into it, the life of persons who live in these conditions. So I'm happy again that we are here, and we're here to celebrate you, but also get into what you have done individually to help your community. So I'll start with Amos.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed at 6.
Yes.
Before 6, before the diagnosis, what was life for Amos?
Okay, so at that time, you could know that I was young then, very young, because I think my family, they are into farming. So things concerning sickle cell is not their thing. And then I can boldly say sickle cell is one of the most popular non-communicable condition or disease in Ghana. So my parents, they didn't know anything about it. So I think when I was first diagnosed, we went to farm. So on our way coming home, I felt like my condition is changing. Things are changing in me. So I told my mom that I'm feeling some pains inside my both of legs and then hands. So before they realized I'm even down, so I collapsed. When I wake up, I saw myself in a hospital. That is Dunkwa Government Hospital in Dunkwa, Nofin Central Region. So at that time, all I heard from the doctor is that your child is a sickle cell patient. So my mom, they don't even know what sickle cell is. So all they know is sometimes is the person is a sickler. So they managed to understand the condition though. But when everything was normal, they treated me with some Petidin, Tramadol, and some hard medication that will make the pain very mild so that I can manage it. So 2 weeks later, I became normal with my siblings. We are twins. So I'm painting, my kakra is there. Very fortunate for him. He's not a sickle cell patient, okay? Yeah, so I'm SC type and he's AS.
Okay.
When time is being given, I will explain what AS is and whatever that. So from there, my parents, they treated me normal as my siblings. But they exempt me and treat me very special when I get crisis.
Right.
So you see, it's like what they were doing to me, they really didn't understand the condition itself. So they will just look at you when you don't have any condition, you go and fetch water, you go and then go to farm. Sometimes you pick some, you know, they are into farming, so cocoa time, you have to carry them and then gather them someplace, and all of them, I will do it with my siblings.
Yes.
So only as and when I get the crisis, but they didn't know that the training they are giving me even trigger the crisis. So every day, 2 weeks, I'm into crisis, but they didn't know.
They didn't understand.
They didn't understand the condition. Even when the doctor diagnosed me and told them that this is my condition, they didn't understand. So in a time, I saw it as a punishment. Anytime I tell my mom or my dad, especially the mother, you see, mothers are very close to their child. Man, this thing, oh, just take this, go and buy something. And she say, oh, my legs. I say, hey. So the way she will act is like, you don't want to go. You understand me?
Right.
But sometimes, I know what I'm feeling in the body.
So in general, you were misunderstood?
Yes, yes. And even as at now, a lot of people, even we the educated people, we still don't understand the concept of sickle cell.
When you were, as a child, 6 years, you were still going to school?
Oh, yes.
What was that like?
In fact, sometimes I even mix exams. So my crisis do set in when I'm going to write exams. Especially, you see, sickle cell is often, it doesn't like pressure or stress.
Right.
And you see, when you are going to write exams, You have to learn, do any. And I'm also a brilliant person, very, very brilliant. So at the point where I want to learn so that I will become first or second or third, that's the time that the crisis will set. But I didn't know that it was the stress that I put on myself.
Right.
So anytime I will learn, I'll go to classes and everything. But when exams comes, I'll fall sick. It's either I manage to go and write my exams and fail, or I don't go to class at all, or I don't write the exams at all. In fact, I'm very sad. You see. So I managed to complete my JHS. I entered SHS. I did business at Buampensem Senior High School.
Right.
It wasn't easy.
How was managing? Because I mean, were you in the boarding house?
No.
So
with this condition, in fact, you dare not don't even enter into a boarding house. But still, we have sickle cell warriors that are being boarded. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So SHS.
Yes, I was staying with my auntie as a day student.
Okay.
So anytime that time I developed a condition called necrosis avascular. Right. And the meaning, the whole meaning is that my hip bone right now, my left, the hip bone is dead. Let me put it that way. So for me to walk on my legs very strongly, they have to go and remove it and replace it with metal or plastic. And with that one, it's not even easy. It's very expensive. So in fact, sickle cell, one condition like sickle cell, you are like a lot of sickness like attached to it. Yeah. One, even if you don't take care, you'll be amputated. If you don't take care, kidney issues because of the drugs. When I'm into crisis, or when any sickle cell patient is into crisis, because of how hard or emergency the crisis is, the pain inside, they have to give you medication like tramadol.
Right.
They have to give you petidine, morphine. And all this medication is very hard to explain. And when they give it to you and they even slap you, or they even pinch you, you won't even feel it.
Right.
And these are the medication that we do take. So, you know, kidney issues is just because of the hard drugs that you've been taking, sometimes brain injury. And then like the rheumatism, which is the normal one, your liver, a whole lot of things. You see, and even sickle cell patient, those with the genotype SS, no. I'm very fortunate that I'm SC, but those in the having the genotype SS, when you are growing as a male, they call something priapism. The priapism is long erection that can last about 10 hours. Ujinasu 10 hours.
Right.
And it's not just because of the erection, the pain inside. If you don't take care, the person will even die out of that.
Right. We'll come back to the crisis, because again, everyone's crisis comes in different ways, like you're just telling me. We need to break that down for those at home to understand. Now, let me come to the woman of the moment, Valeria. Now, you have fought for amputees, but before you started fighting, there was a life for you. At 7 years, your life changed.
Yes.
Run me through what happened.
So, at 7 years, just like any normal child, you have to go to school. So, that fateful day, I was going to school like a normal school going day, and I had to cross the road by myself. So it was the rush hour traffic situation. So when I got there, the lane facing me allowed me to cross, and I crossed into the middle lane. So the driver there also signaled me to cross. But there was another driver behind him who at that time was on phone, wasn't paying attention. So thinking the driver in front was wasting his time, overtook him. And it was at that spot that I also stepped onto the road. And he wasn't concentrating because, as I said, he was on phone whilst driving. And so I stepped onto the road. He overtook the other guy, and then my leg was right there. So he walked over the leg. So I was under the car when people started screaming. He did not actually know that this was happening. So whilst people started screaming, he didn't know what happened, so he applied the brake. And there my leg was right under the car, under his thighs, and he applied the brake. So eventually people came in, had to let him move, take me into the car, and then drive me to a health facility. And I recalled sitting in the car, seeing my leg very much damaged. And so I kept hearing, he was with someone in the car, and the person kept saying, "Don't look at your leg, don't look at your leg." And till today, there are times that I still hear that in my head sometimes. And so we went to a number of hospitals that day. Looking at the extent of the damage, they kept referring, refusing admission till we got to 37 Military Hospital, where they accepted that they would take me in. And at that point, the leg was already, it was damaged. It was crushed. 7-year-old child under the load or the impact of a Pajero car. So the leg was totally damaged. We got there, and then the doctor says they have to amputate. So they did the amputation. Fortunately, I survived it. That is why I'm here today.
And you're strong. I want to go back into the mind of the 7-year-old. When you were told that you were going to amputate your leg, what was the thought process? What were you feeling at the time?
So I wasn't told. All these things were happening around me. I know that I was being lifted, I was being moved. Those are the things that I quite recall. And I recall being pushed into a room, and I saw big lights there, and that was it. Then I woke up later on, and then I couldn't feel my leg, my right leg. So I started asking, like, where is my leg? Where's my leg? Where's my leg? So that's the only thing I kept asking those around me. I can't feel my leg. Where is my leg? Where is my leg? So I wasn't told I was going to be amputated. As a child, my consent wasn't sought for that. But later on, from my parents, I learned the doctor say that there is nothing they could do to the leg. They just have to take it off to save my life. So they have to do that. So I didn't have the opportunity of processing it. I wasn't given the opportunity to know this is what was going to happen. No one actually sat me down to talk to me and tell me, this is how I'm going to feel after amputation. This is how amputation is going to be. No one came in. There wasn't any conversation about it. So 7 years after the hospital, I just have to learn to live with it, with no information, not knowing what to expect, nothing.
Just became your new reality.
Yes, new reality, new identity.
Yeah, what class were you in at the time?
I was in class 1, and I love school so much. I wrote my exams that term on the hospital bed, and I did wrote my exams. I did wrote exams that term on my sick bed, and I did well.
And again, that's why I say you're very strong.
Thank you.
And we'll get into it again, because for every story that is told, there are things behind them, the stigma, growing up a child with these conditions. We'll get into all of that. But now let me go to Reverend.
Yeah.
And then you are in the Volta region.
Yes.
What is the scene like that made you finally get up to say, this is what I want to do? What had you seen? Because again, I'm sure even in Accra, where we live, every day we walk around and we see people on the streets. But I always say that people with mental health issues are not always the ones we see on the street. Someone in the home is going through a lot, but nobody sees it. So what specific situation made you get up and say, this is what I want to do?
Okay. Thank you very much, and I thank you for having me on your show. Well, I've been practicing as a health worker for, I think, 16 years, as a nurse, and then a physician assistant. Then later I became a pastor. I realized that there were a number of mentally ill people on our streets. Somewhere along the line, I had a friend that became an addict, that we almost lost her. But by the grace of God, when our class came together, we were able to find a way to take her to rehab and all that. So we almost lost her, maybe due to mental illness, because addiction is a mental illness. But then when I was posted to Anyanwi in Angologa in the Volta region, I realized that the number of cases on the streets were just too many. As of 2022, I counted about 32. By the end of 2023, there were about 44.
In one community?
In Anyanwi Sub, where we have Anyanwi, Agledume, Bomigo, Fuveme, Atoko. Yes. So all the communities in that area, we counted about 44. So I'm like, okay, let's do something. Because we can't see them just on the street, plenty like that. So that year, I think 2022, we did so much to improve the mental health coverage in the facility. But then at the end of the year, our coverage went up, but the streets were still flooded with mental health illness. So we did an assessment and we realized that those on the street, no one was ready to bring them for care.
Right.
But a few ones that people cared for during our campaigns and the rest, they brought them for care. So we came up with a quality improvement initiative to see how best we can reduce those on the streets that no one cared for. No one is willing to bring them for care. So we spot one. Actually, I became a pastor, and then I realized that 3 of the people on the streets were my church members before.
Right.
So we started with them. We spoke to the family. We sought for their consent, and when they agreed, we cleaned them up. We had to bath them, shave them, go to their house. In fact, one of the first cases, people give him things, but he doesn't wear them.
Right.
He just packed them somewhere, and they become dirty. They gather a lot of dust and all that. And that was the very first case. So we went in, washed some of them. I mean, the ones that are so dirty, we had to burn them. In fact, it was a real problem.
When you did your research, looking at the stories and the number of cases that came up in the Volta region alone, what were the underlying factors that pushed people into, like you said, becoming addicts and developing mental health issues?
Okay, so the cases we had, not in Volta region alone, but just my sub-district.
Right.
So I realized that mental illness is caused by a number of factors. Depression, anxiety, drug use. Some people deliver and then postpartum, they develop psychosis. But then I realized that our perception about mental illness around wasn't just good. People think that it's a spiritual thing.
Right.
So once you have mental illness, they push you to a shrine or a prayer camp and they chain you and you are there.
Right.
And some think that if you're a woman and you have mental illness, you've cheated on your husband. So if they have the notion that it was because of your cheating, that's why you are sick, they just ignore you. You are on the street, no one cares. So I believe these are some of the reasons why the number kept increasing on our streets. Yeah, so practically after cleaning up, we start medications. And then we monitor you closely. In fact, from the beginning, daily visits, then to weekly, then to 2 weeks, then every month we visit, until you are stable, can take care of yourself. And by the grace of God, those that recover, we try to find something for them to be doing so that they don't think too much, because they were on the street. They didn't have any mind to do anything. But now that they've become sane, they start thinking, what happened to me? I've lost so many years. Look at my friends. So the thinking alone sometimes causes them, can push them, exactly. So we try to find something for them to start doing. So some are selling, farming, some are going for fishing, and some are really helping family members in their businesses from the street.
At the end of the day, we say that the devil finds work for the idle hands. So I'm happy that we put that together. Now let me come back to you, Amos, because again, there are misconceptions about sickle cell disease. People have so many ideas. People think that it is something else. Like you said, even you as a child, nobody really understood what you were feeling because not a lot of people are educated on sickle cell or about sickle cell. So what are some of the common misconceptions, and also just really brief us in details what it is?
Okay, so you see, the misconception, we can just separate it to those in the urban centers and the rural areas. Those in the rural areas where I found myself, you see, they see it as a superstitious something. That sometimes they will say a sickle cell patient, whilst growing up, the way you grow lean, and especially, as I said, always I talk about the SS. So the SS people, when you see them, you see that there's something going on in the body. So they will misquote it and say in quotes, in soba. Meaning this particular child is not meant to stay. So sometimes, even with that one, it's not easy for the child to even be having any treatment or care or love with their colleagues. And especially because the sickle cell crisis comes in every time, doesn't really have a particular time that comes, people may not really like to play with you. Because when they touch you, in quotes, they'll be saying, do you understand? Meaning that this person, he or she can die at any point. So you touching him or playing with him, who knows? Maybe when you are trying to even pinch him or her, the person will die. So they will just separate themselves when playing with them. When they found out that the person is living with sickle cell disease, sometimes because they don't really want to do any hard things, the duties, and all, the family itself may think they are lazy, akwadro, in our local dialect. So all these things are part of it, especially growing up as an adult living in sickle cell condition. Me, I'm a journalist. So let's say as a journalist, you have to come to work each and every day, especially when, and as a new news anchor, you have to come each and every day. And then sometimes you have to call your colleagues to excuse duty because you are not fine. And imagine doing it continuously, like within the month, you always say you are not well. Sometimes even the colleagues may not even understand you. And it's not happening at like my side or alone. A lot of warriors do say, I have someone living in sickle cell who's a nurse, and their own sector, where they have to even understand the condition, they are bullying him or her. Sometimes because of maybe you may not come to work, and even coming to work, the duties, emergency cases, such a person cannot rush to attend to someone. So when you exempt yourself from those things, they will be saying you are lazy. You don't want to. So these are something that people do attach to sickle cell warriors. But trust me, the pain and then the stress inside when having sickle cell condition is not easy at all.
I'll come back to you on what's finally moved you to start your foundation, but let me go to Valeria. Valeria, as a 7-year-old who had now been introduced to the harsh reality of her new life, growing again, finding your feet, and finally being where you are, what finally pushed you to put your foundation together?
Yeah, so thank you. So I after everything, growing up and everything, I sort of was more into academics. I was more school, lots of stuff. And when I finished school, I had the opportunity to travel on a fellowship, and I was in the US. Then it was during one of those events that I met another lady there who was also an amputee. And so we got talking. She was much new to amputation. She was 6 months post-amputation. And so when we met, she had a lot of questions about life after amputation. And she was curious, how do I do this? Are you able to do this as an amputee and all of that? And when she was asking me all those questions, I realized something. It dawned on me that I'm meeting this lady in the US. And the US, we know that they are much developed and advanced in all these things. And I know she should have the necessary support, the resources, the expertise, anything she needs, she should have it. So I was wondering why she kept asking those questions. We met a couple of times actually. And so at a point then I was like, then in Ghana, what is happening?
Right.
It was me, myself going through it. I had those questions as well. There was no one I could ask. And so I find a way of adapting, adjusting, living my life. And like there was nothing to look on to. So you sort of like just pick yourself up and keep moving and all of that. And then I realized that this is a big gap that is there. If she is interested in asking these questions, then why is she asking me? She should have asked her doctor, her physician, or someone, her therapist. Then I realized it was the lived experience that she needed. Someone who has lived that life already. She wanted the experience from the person. So right there, before coming back, I started putting my thoughts together. I said, when I get back home, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to answer the questions for all the amputees that are new in Ghana here. I'm going to support them. I'm going to be able to answer the questions for them and help them to go through their journey, work with them, because I have worked that all my life. I always say that I don't know how it feels like walking on normal legs in quote. What I remembered is walking on prosthetics till now. So at least I'm able to share what I have been through and use that to encourage others. Then I came back. Then it was validated. I met people who had a lot of uncertainties, who were highly traumatized because they've lost a limb that is very important to them. And I said that it's not just about losing a hand or a leg. This is something of value to the person. Your movement relies on your limbs, your legs. That is what takes you up and down. So imagine if something happens and suddenly you have to lose it. It's more like losing a loved one. That is how we feel about the loss of a part of us.
Right, Valeria, not to cut you, but back then, this makes me take you back to your 7-year-old self again, because you said you were not told. There was no rule book to tell you, now that you're an amputee, this is what will happen to you. What were some of the harsh realities you had to learn or go through yourself?
So back then, I had to learn to adjust to people staring and asking questions. So I say I'm very fortunate to have educated parents who wanted the best for me. So right after my amputation, after discharge, my wound was healed. I went to get a prosthetic limb. So they did that to reduce the stigma drastically. Then you are walking, someone sees you. Oh, sorry, oh, is your leg paining you? Oh, what, your leg? What is wrong with your leg? Oh, sorry for you. You see, that kind of thing, like it makes you feel bad. And you are walking and everyone suddenly stop what they are doing and you become the attention and people are pointing at you. Then when he had to go to school, accessibility issues and my mates not understanding me,
throughout my education, I have my dad always coming to the schools to see the head, just to make sure that I stay in school. Because I'll go back and like, oh, daddy, you see this, or mommy, this happened, I didn't like it, or this friend made fun of me or something.
Right.
The next day you see my daddy in school, so my mates knows that, oh, touch Valeria, and then her dad will come for you the next day. And so that helped me in staying in school, and the help of the school as well. I remember all the classes I've been to, every time my class has to be removed to another place to make it more accessible for me to be able to attend class. Now, another thing that I wasn't able to do, not because I am not able to do it, but my teachers then do not have the training and the knowledge to help me do is sports. So I never partook in sports.
Right.
And I'm very bad at it. Even as at now, I find it difficult doing things with rhythm.
Yeah.
Because I was exempted from it. So that when people are able to do their dance moves and those things, if I move my hands, my legs, I have to do one at a time.
Right.
And like, so I wish I could do those things. But anytime it's time for sports, oh, you go and sit there, you are not strong, you can't do this thing, so you stay in the classroom. So I wasn't included in those things. And it sort of affected my confidence growing up.
Right.
So you always see me that I don't want to mingle with people. It took time for me to work on it, to finally be able to come out boldly, to show myself to people. I always just want to be at home, locked away or something, and don't want to be among, especially when there is crowd. You won't see me there because I don't want those comments and those things again. Then I finished school. I have to get work. I'm intelligent. I went through school. I qualified. Then I apply. You are called for an interview. Once you walk in, they see how you are walking in. They ask all the questions. Oh, so you've done well, congratulations, you hear from us. That is the end of it.
Right.
No one calls back. No one returns the follow-ups I make. So it's kind of like I tell people like they look at how you walk in than even what you can actually do or contribute. And this has been some of the challenges that I went through growing up as a child and in my younger ages.
Right, I'll come back again, but Rev,
Yeah.
for you as well, who deals with mentally or people who are struggling mentally, mental health issues, what are the challenging things? Because like you said, you have to go into shrines, you have to go to
Prayer
obscure
camps.
places. Yes, so what is that world like? How challenging is it scouting for them?
Well, looking for them, it's not very challenging for me because, first of all, majority of them are on the streets. They are in the communities. The challenging thing is getting their families to accept that they want to support treatment.
Right.
There are times you get to the house and the condition in the house is so bad that you practically have to take care of the mentally ill person and some other people in the family, because sometimes I have to provide foodstuffs and all that. At times you get slippers, dresses, you take it to them, you get back there and someone else in the family is using the slippers and the things. There was one case I had to pause it because I saw that. But 3 months ago, I went back and the guy was completely naked. So I had to go back again this time around with more education to let them know that the things I'm bringing is for him so that he can be okay. Last week I met him and he looks very well.
Right.
Yes.
Now, for those you get from the shrine, also because you know what comes with these environments, how are you able to get them out of there?
Okay, so I actually sit down with the priests or the priestesses or the prayer camps, the prophets, and have an in-depth discussion with them. make them understand that I'm also a spiritual person. I know that sometimes mental illness can be spiritual connotations to them. However, as a physician, I've seen a lot of people that we presume that it's spiritual. Once we start medical treatments, they get better. So after explaining these things to them, all the places I've been to and discussed this with the priest and the prophets, they've all agreed and we've touched them. And they themselves, after 2-3 weeks of treatment, they see the remarkable improvement. And at one place, they are calling other people that have been there but went back home because they were not recovering. They've called some people back for us to start treatment for them. Right.
So, but when it comes to the patients, are they willing? Because sometimes some of them can be quite difficult.
Yes. This is the area I was telling Uncle Amos that this taught me a lot of patience.
Right.
A lot of patience. Because even though you are going in to help them, they don't understand that you are there to help them. So you do everything and they will say no. But you have to go back the next day. Right. Go back again and again until they agree. Sometimes at a point when family members agree, they restrain them a little for you to start the medications. And by the grace of God, you start medication 2-3 weeks, the people are back into their senses. And the strategy I'm using now is to take pictures of them when they were in a bad state. And once they are recovering, I show them the pictures. Go into their minds, go into their hearts. You are this old, and look at where you are now. It's because of this. There's a very thin line between being okay and not being okay. If you cross that line, you cannot think and take care of yourself. Someone must come in. It is because we came in. That is why you are looking this way. So there is a need for you to continue treatments and not go back to how you were. By the grace of God, you give them this education, majority of them agree, and they willingly accept to comply with treatment.
Right. Now, I'll come back to Amos. Amos, first of all, Amos has and his foundation have fought so much that when you go to the hospital these days on our NHIS, we have treatment. In fact, if you're a sickle cell patient and you go to the hospital, it covers, NHIS covers sickle cell. Please put your hands together. Yes. Again, these are heroes, and Amos really has shown that he is more than a hero. Now, I mean, you have a foundation.
Yes.
What does the foundation do?
Okay.
And then how are we creating more awareness on sickle cell?
Okay, so being a journalist, my work is to inform. So already starting this NGO or the foundation, I have this in mind that everything that is good, we have to inform the public.
Right.
And then something that is going wrong, we have to inform and correct them.
Right.
So that is my work already. So before starting Focus on Sickle Cell Foundation, myself, as I said, I'm a victim. So Sickle Cell Foundation, what we do is that we create awareness. Because I believe a condition like sickle cell disease can be cured because education is the first medicine. Right. That is me. Education is the first medicine. Something that you inform the person, you educate the person on, the person is aware. So sometimes they won't even go in and be mistaken or do something that is not needed. So ours is to inform, creating awareness. That's why recently we've written a proposal policy seeking that the Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service will do us a favor to include sickle cell education in the national curriculum, especially both the JHS and the SHS. Yes, so we create awareness and then we influence policies. So that is the key policy is the inclusion of sickle cell treatment under the National Health Insurance Scheme. Yes. And also the sickle cell education that is still ongoing. Yes, so aside that we promote genotype screening. Right. Because in fact, I'm so happy that we have youth here who are watching us right here. In fact, after you talk about sickle cell condition, everyone would like to know their genotype so that they won't bring forth a child like that.
Yes.
Because we have genotype AA, AS, SC, SS, AC, CC. So everyone has its own special genotype depending on your mother and your father's genotype. So myself, the reason why I'm a sickle cell patient just is that my father is AC, my mother is AS. And then, as I say, we are twins.
Yes.
So, unfortunate for me, I picked my father C, and I picked my mother S, and I became SC.
Right.
But my brother is AS. Why? Because my father is AC, so my brother picked my father's A,
right,
and they picked the woman's C. S, and become AS. So my brother is a career. All this education must go on. So focus on Sickle Cell Foundation. Our main focus is to inform, creating awareness. After the awareness, what next? We have to promote genotype screening. So the World Sickle Cell Awareness Day is next month, which is June 19. We are going to KNUST to have the national climax. And our main focus is to do genotype screening for about 1,000 students. Right. Why? Because after the talk, anyone has to know their genotype. Because the guys here are waiting to have relationship and all that. And in fact, giving birth is not mandatory that you have to marry before you give birth. I'm a Christian though, but it still goes on in our community. Right. So you can't just wait for the person to pass through counseling before they give birth. Right. So majority of them even give birth before they marry. So we are telling the youth that know your genotype, to know whether your partner and yours are compatible. Right. As I said, I believe that education is the first medicine. So at Focus on Sickle Cell Foundation, we are still trying our best. That aside we trying to make the warriors themselves comfortable, treatment and any other thing that will help the warrior. Because when you have the crisis, the condition itself, it can be cured. Now that the scientists are making it possible, they call something bone marrow transplant. And that one too is very expensive. That can buy even your studio and the entire multimedia. Right. Do you understand? Right. Because it's expensive, really, really expensive. And it's not done here in Ghana. Sometimes you want it right. Recently that UK had its first bone marrow transplant and they announced it that it works. Yes. But still they are ongoing. Yeah. So we are just saying that don't go and, because you see, me as a person who have sickle cell condition, sometimes you have to think about the parents, their finances. Right. So in case your parent is not having that much, don't earn that much, how can this child having this condition live? And one parent can even inherit 3 children living with sickle cell disease. Right. 3 children, they are all sickle cell warriors. Why? Because they think in a way God will make a way that AS, they can find AABO. Right. But sometimes it's not like that because we are not the creator. The creator formed the child, whilst you don't, even doctors don't have any upper hand. Right. So we are just saying that let us know our genotype before we set in giving birth. That will be enough thing for us. So education and awareness, free genotype screening or any other policy that will help people living in sickle cell themselves focus on sickle cell we are in. Right. And by the grace of God, we've had a National Health Insurance Authority backing us, a Ministry of Health backing us. So any other project that we don't do it alone. We do it with National Health Insurance Authority. And then permit me to thank the CEO, Dr. Victor Asari-Bampo. Right. In fact, he has really done well to the sickle cell community, especially focus on Sickle Cell Foundation. And then there's also Ministry of Health. And my honorable MP of Efutu, the only Osahene in Ghana's parliament. Osahene, Honorable Afenyo Markin. I greet him. So even the Ministry of Health is doing their best. NHIA is doing their best. Ghana Health Service is doing their best. It's not enough because me like this, as I said, I have necroavascular. Although NHIA covers sickle cell treatment in some parts, but this necroavascular that the person is having, it takes some amount of money, huge amount of money, before that can be cured. Right. And the person, if you don't take it, as I said, the person will be amputated. Right. And with this, either you like it or not, health insurance cannot cover. Right. So please, my youth, my fellow, in fact, me, I know what I'm going through, and I will advise you to know your genotype, know your partner's own before you say yes or I do. Because if you don't take care, all your finances, all your earnings will go into medication. Thank you.
Now, I come to Valeria because after you came back to Ghana, after that one interaction with someone outside the country, you decided that when you come to Ghana, you speak to us and you help people. Your organization or your foundation has helped. In your video, you said, oh, a lot of people, so many people. How do you get them together? What are we seeking to change? What narratives are we correcting with our foundation?
Okay. We reach these people. The first point of call is the hospitals,
right,
where these amputations are made. So we partner with key hospitals in Accra here, Kolebu 37, the Accra Regional Hospital Rich, Tema General, Lekma as well. And so anytime someone is scheduled for an amputation, we are called in to counsel the person before the person goes through it. Why we do that is we want the person to understand and know what to expect. As I said in my case, no one counseled me. I didn't know what I was going into. And we don't want people having to walk that journey again without uncertainty. Just go and lie on a surgical bed and it's done. And then you are wondering what to expect, what next, how do I walk, how do I navigate? So the pre-amputation counseling is very, very important to people who are yet to be amputated. And those who also go through it, we are equally called to come in and then counsel them as well as part of what we do. Now, what we seek to change is this. For amputation, it comes with a lot beyond the physical part, which happens at the hospital. The amputation is done. Then it comes the emotional part of it, the mental health aspect of it, which is not being treated, which are gaps in the hospital systems that we have realized, and we are trying to now use Smiles of Hope to do.
Right.
Now, so we reach out to these people. We are able to help them navigate, process their thoughts, their emotions, their identity. How do they see themselves? What to expect after amputation, physical therapy. You need to get back on your feet again. If you stay too long on the bed, your muscles will become weak.
Right.
And that is even another recovery process on its own. So if you want to get back on your feet early, you have to start therapy immediately after amputation, which people don't know.
Right.
Unfortunately, our health workers are doing their best, but there is still that informational gap there. So the procedure is done and they are discharged. And people don't know that they have to go for therapy. The one that is done at the hospital, that one session with the therapist, it ends there. So people go home without knowing what to do. Recently, we had a session with a physiotherapist, and someone shared that he's been discharged for 8 years now and has been on the Zima frame. That's the four-legged walking aid.
Yeah.
And that is what he used. And that frame, the Zima frame, is actually to introduce the person to walking.
Yes.
And then you transition to the crutches. And then if you have the means, you go for the prosthetic limb. This person has been using that for 8 years without knowing and has never gone back to the physiotherapist. Why? Because he was just discharged and he got home with it and he started working with it. He didn't know he had to go back. He didn't know he has to transition. So such a person, with time, you realize that will be having issues at the back, at the waist, which will it goes a long way again to bring another challenge again in the long run. These are the things that we want to change. Access to prosthetics. For a person to live a quality life as an amputee, you need a prosthetic limb.
Right.
That, in a way, completes your look. It gives you that confidence. I'm able to come here because of my prosthetic.
Yes.
If I'm to be on my crutches, it will be very difficult. Maybe people have to start lifting me here and there, which makes your dignity as a person is being reduced at that point.
Right.
So with that, you are able to walk with some confidence. You are able to work better. You are able to go about your duties. I'm a mother. I have to cater for my mother. For my son. I'm a caregiver to my aged mom as well.
Right.
Can I do this on a crutches? Definitely not.
So that's
I
why your
need
foundation.
Yes, so this is why we are doing this. April is Amputee Awareness Month. Globally, the whole of April is set aside to do that. This year, this is not known well in Ghana, so we are trying as a foundation to try and then have us celebrate and mark those days in Ghana here, observe those days. April, which is just last month, we did an awareness and visibility walk. And as part of it, we went to the gender ministry to present a petition to the ministry for issues that concern us. The cost of prosthetic is not accessible. It's more like a luxury thing than a need for us. The ordinary amputee cannot afford it. Issues on having psychosocial support in the hospital systems. We don't want people going home feeling hopeless and start having excuse my word, suicidal thoughts.
Right.
So now what the partners have realized that since we come in, they say people go and come back. Those days they go, they never see them again. The next thing is that they've lost their lives.
Right.
But since we come in beyond the hospital, follow up into their homes, then we have the community support groups. So after they are now able to get back on their feet, we integrate them within the support groups. These are places where we have healthy conversations, how to adjust. We bring in experts, the physiotherapists, the medical people come in, the protesters, those who fabricate our prosthetics come to give knowledge about that. Now, the highest cause of amputation now in Ghana is diabetic complications.
Right.
And now we are trying to advocate for that and also create awareness on that.
Right.
We want people knowing their status before they get to that point that they develop complications that have to lead to amputation, putting burden on our health systems as well.
Right.
So these are the things that we want to change as an organization, as Smiles of Hope, making sure that we give that holistic transformation and then we put advocacy policy changes on issues that affect amputees in Ghana. Not just say persons with disabilities, not putting all of us together, but amputees have specific, unique needs that need to be looked at again.
Now, you are still going regardless, and I think you are doing an amazing job because you're still pastoring a church and still trying to save lives. For you, I know that for all of us, funding is a problem. We all need funds. So how can people reach you? Those who want to support the initiative, how can they reach you?
Okay, before I get back to how they can reach us, I want to say something that the cost of mental health in Ghana is very high.
Right.
For you to assess mental health in Ghana is very expensive.
Right.
When you go to the psychiatric hospital for just 2 weeks, you are paying more than 3,700.
Wow.
So for a month, for you to travel from Volta to Accra, and then your transportation, food, without medication and all that, you'll be spending more than 10,000 within 1 month. And I'm trying to say that if we are managing 73 people, it means that we are saving family members and the government 730,000 Ghana cedis. Yeah, so people that are recovering, formerly they beg on the street, you feed them. I give people money. I have to deposit money elsewhere for people to come and eat.
Right.
But once they recover, they are caring for themselves.
Right.
So if you are spending 30 cedis on someone, you are saving your 30 Ghana.
Yes.
He's making 30 Ghana. That together making 60 cedis.
Right.
Times the number of people that have recovered, about 58 of them. That amount is also almost 800,000. Yes. We go for review every month. the cost of transportation, medication, and all that, if they were to be going to the hospital for care, they would spend not less than 150 cedis. Before, insurance didn't cover mental health, but now they do. But for your transportation and all that, sometimes you go to the facility and the medications are not there. You have to go and buy. You spend not less than 150 cedis times 58 people that are constantly receiving care, and that is over 100,000.
Right.
So right now, as we speak, our initiative is saving government over 2 million Ghana cedis.
It's very expensive in the end.
So what I'm saying is that is how much we are saving Ghana. Yes, assuming they were going to the health facilities for this care. But currently, I spend not up to 5,000 on these cases every month.
Right.
Yes, meaning that if we get the necessary support, we can extend this care to a wide number of people that will receive care for free, because we are taking the care into their communities.
Right.
Having said that, I want to say that we need a lot of stuff. Right. The first thing we need is a lab, because as we treat the people, we once in a while need to check their HBs, the lipid profile, liver function, kidney function, and all that. And these are expensive.
Right.
The number is big. For you to run this test for all these cases, it's so expensive. So if we can get a little lab somewhere where we can run this test for these cases for free, that would be very great.
Right.
Issues with transportation, fuel, that is where much of the funding go into transportation and fuel with medications. Yes.
So that's why I would ask that you put your number out there. If there's a contact people can reach you on, are you finding that for me? Yes. All right. Then Valeria, if people want to reach out to you and the foundation, want to help, please put that number out there. Amos, are you ready? Do you have your number?
Oh, yes.
Please put that out there.
So in case maybe any organization would like to support us, the number is 054 75 923 94. And also to appeal that now that the free primary health care has come, I think it's there to help every Ghanaian ordinary person to also go in and then do checkups.
Right.
I'm urging the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Health to inculcate genotype screening into it, so that as a youth I can go in and then do my genotype
at any
check.
time.
Because now genotype screening, the price is somewhere 250, 300 cedis from both the government and the private. So we urge the government to include sickle cell genotype screening into the free primary health care.
Right.
Yes.
Please, the number again.
054 75 923 94.
Right. Thank you. Valeria.
Yeah. So the number to reach us on is 054 855 2626. 054 855 2626.
Right. So anybody willing to help, any organization,
anybody
they can reach
willing
out
to. Yeah.
All right. Rev, are you ready?
So I want to put two contacts out,
No
my
problem.
personal contact and then the foundation's Momo number.
No problem.
So my personal number is 0245 675 084. 0245 675 084. And then the foundation's Momo number is 0248 294 662.
Right.
0248 294 662.
Okay. Please put your hands together for these amazing individuals. I would say to each and every one of you, you're doing amazing.
Thank
We
you.
recognize you. We see you. Nothing you're doing will ever be futile. So God will bless you. God will give you strength. And in the coming years, you would achieve more than you're thinking right
Amen.
now. Thank you so much. You really are the heroes of change. Please put your hands together. And so we ask that you reach out, please support. We need to help individuals in these situations. They need our help. Their brother, our sisters, our family members, and even sometimes friends and people we don't know. Let's help as much as we can, and let's also help effect change the way that we can.